Is the highest offer the best offer? We'll get into that in a second. Hey guys, it's Brad from GeorgiaProbateResource.com. We're a real estate solutions company in Metro Atlanta. We buy houses all over the state of Georgia, and we specialize in the world of probate and inheritance properties. All right, so let's get into it today. Is the highest offer the best offer? And my answer to that, generally speaking, is actually no. And I'm not just saying that because I'm an investor. I'm also a real estate agent. So when I'm done sort of flipping these houses, I list the houses on the market as my own agent. And so I'm getting all the other offers coming in from the market, and I'm talking to agents, and I know the types of offers that can be made out on the market, both from a retail perspective and from an investor perspective. I've been an investor for a number of years, very experienced, bought hundreds of houses. I know this business very, very well. I'm kind of a veteran in this business at this point. There are a lot of new people in this business. In the age of the internet and TikTok and YouTube and all this stuff, everybody thinks that they can be a real estate investor. Everybody sees HGTV on TV and thinks they can flip houses. And they get into it and they're in for a rude awakening that it's not like it is on TV. It's not like the guru that taught me on YouTube or TikTok that I can make $1 million in 6 weeks and whatever. That's not reality, right? So you are going to get sometimes some of these inexperienced people are going to make you a very high offer. And a lot of times we deal with this where we get I don't want to be derogatory, but like a delusional seller that they think their house is worth like $300,000, but their house is really only worth like $200,000. And the market dictates what your house is. The comparable sales are going to dictate what your house is worth. Now, that's not to say that you could have some unique house and some random Joe who really, really, really loves your house and has a bunch of cash might pay you $300,000 for this house. I've seen it happen occasionally for very unique houses, but that kind of person is like a unicorn, right? So generally speaking, most people are selling their house on the open market and to average everyday people, right? That's what we do. That's sort of the world we like to stick in. I don't really buy weird houses, but if I do buy a weird house, I need to get a really good deal on it because in my experience, and I've learned this the hard way, when you buy weird houses, a lot of other people think they're weird too, and they're a lot harder to sell, and they take a lot longer to sell than a normal, average, run-of-the-mill house. So when you're getting offers on your house, don't always pick the highest number or the highest price. There are other things that you need to pay attention to. Number one, you need to pay attention to the company you're working with. Make sure you're working with a legitimate operation. Make sure you're going, if they have a website, look on their website and take written reviews with a grain of salt. I was looking at a website the other day and it was this investor guy that screwed over this old lady, and I've got a video coming out for it. You'll see that in the future. And their website was a joke. You could tell that they were new. You could tell that they didn't know what they were doing. Now to her, she didn't know any different, right? I'm experienced in this industry. I can sort of tell, but I could read all the reviews on their website and they had tons of written reviews. They didn't have a single real life picture of a real life person. They didn't have a single testimonial video. If you'll go on our website, it's testimonial videos. And I apologize. I know some of these videos are a little old. I actually have a ton more in queue that need to be edited. And it's just editing videos takes a long time. And we only get testimonial videos from a very small fraction of the people that we actually buy their houses from. A lot of people are camera shy, and we don't pressure them to be on camera if they don't want to be on camera. So what you're seeing on our site is only like a small fraction of the houses that we've actually bought. So make sure you're looking at their website. If they've got real testimonial videos, that's great because those are real life people, real life scenarios that actually sold their house to that company. So make sure you're paying attention to that. Like I said, take written reviews with a grain of salt. This one guy, his written reviews, you could tell they were all just manufactured because what was funny is I'm reading it and the grammar and usage and the style in which they were all written were like all exactly the same. So you could tell that it was like written by the same person because we all like have our unique styles on how we speak and how we write and that sort of thing. It's almost like a little signature of ourselves. So make sure you're dealing with a good company. Make sure you're reading the contract. Make sure you're looking for out clauses in this contract. There are a lot of investors out there who have so many out clauses in their contract that basically allow them to get out of a contract scot-free regardless of anything. Make sure you're reading that. If you need an attorney to review it, we always say, look, we've had people say, hey, I want my attorney to read this contract before I sign it. Great. What's your attorney's name? What's their email address? I'd be happy to send the contract over to the attorney. And every single attorney we have heard back from is like, this is a good contract. It's simple. It's easy to understand. Some of them are like, hey, can you strike out this one word right here? And can you strike out this one word right here? Sure, no problem. Strike it out. If that makes you feel more comfortable with the deal, I'd be happy to strike that out. We'll strike through that. We'll initial it. We're good to go, right? I've never had an attorney that's come back to me and told their client, like, no, don't do business with this company, like run away from this contract. I'd be happy to send a contract. I'd be happy to get on the phone with the attorney and discuss the contract. Because our contract was written by my real estate attorney, I wanted something very simple and easy for both parties to understand that wasn't overly complicated, didn't have a ton of legalese, and it was a short, easy enough read. It accomplished all the things that a contract needs to accomplish and didn't have any extra fluff in it, right? And it's not one-sided to just fit me. It's got penalties for both sides if one party defaults or the other party defaults. It's got all that stuff in there. It's got what it needs to have. So pay attention to contract, pay attention to due diligence period. If you've got an investor that's trying to pull a 30-day due diligence period on you, run away from that contract. If they need 30 days due diligence to buy your house, that's insane. Now, if you're selling like a piece of land, that's another thing. I typically do the shortest due diligence I'll do on a piece of land is probably 60 days. Usually on average, it's like 90 days because there's a lot of things you got to get done to buy a piece of land. You got to get surveys, you got to get soil tests, you got to sometimes check with planning and zoning, blah, 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 blah. There's a lot of steps and all those things take a lot of time. And there's a lot of risk in selling a piece of land where you might get a piece of land that's completely worthless and you can't do anything with it. Make sure you're paying attention to that. Due diligence period. Our standard due diligence in our contracts is 10 days. That seems to be 7 to 10 days is pretty standard in the industry. And if a seller ever asks me to do less due diligence in the contract, I'd be happy to talk to him about that. I've even done zero due diligence if I've actually gone out and me personally, I've walked through the property, make sure it's all good. Yeah, looks good to me. I'm confident in my price. Let's do it. Let's sign right here. I'll sign no due diligence. That means this contract's solid. That means if I back out, I owe you money. That means if I back out, like there's other legal consequences that could happen. Make sure you're paying attention to that. Closing period. Like I saw a contract or an investor one time had like a 90-day closing in their contract. I'm like, what is this? Get out of here with 90 days. Come on. Now, it's one thing if the seller asks for 90 days because they've got maybe they're moving and they're finding another house and they need some time to, move and all that stuff, or they're getting relocated and their job's moving them in March and it's January or whatever. That's one thing. But if the seller doesn't ask for it and they are trying to do a 90-day close, like get out of here with that. That's not even real. So read the contract, know what you're signing, know who you're getting in bed with, to make sure that you're getting, doing business with the right company. And again, let's get back to that highest offer thing. There's two schools of thought here in this industry. There's two groups of people. There's guys that are going to make a high offer because they almost use it as like a bait and switch. They're going to sort of give you what you want and tell you what you want to hear. And then during their due diligence and after their inspection, they're going to say, oh, we found this, and this. And they like pick your house apart and make you like totally embarrassed. And they're like, oh, we're going to have to take X amount off for this and X amount for that and X amount for this and that and da-da-da-da. And then they like, yeah, that means we have to reduce our offer by $75,000. That's wrong, in my opinion. I don't agree with doing business that way. We try to give you the best offer up front and the most honest offer and the most accurate offer up front so that we don't have to come back and renegotiate you later. There are new people out there that honestly just have no idea what they're doing. They don't know how to properly evaluate the value of the property. They don't know how to accurately assess what it's going to cost to fix it. And they literally just pull numbers out of their rear end and they give you an offer. And then all they do is most of those guys are what's called wholesalers. And there's nothing wrong with wholesaling. Wholesaling is totally illegal. We wholesale some properties. We flip properties. We hold rentals. We do all. Wholesaling is just one sort of tool in the toolbox. But these guys, like, that's all they do. And they're new at this game. and they will basically just send all of their buyers into your property. They might even schedule a showing and have like 10 people show up to the house. And those guys are going to make offers and bids to them to buy it. And then they're going to come back to you and they're basically be like, hey, I got to come down on my offer by like 35 grand because my investors need to buy it for this price and blah, blah, blah. And all they're doing is they're really being a glorified realtor without a license. So make sure you're paying attention to that. So I hope this helps you out. I know this video is kind of long. Sometimes I go kind of long. Sometimes I talk a lot, but there is a lot of good information here. So again, is the highest offer the best offer? In my opinion, the answer to that is actually no. There are a lot more components that make an offer the best offer in addition to just price. So pay attention to that. Again, I'm Brad with GeorgiaProbateResource.com. Again, we're a real estate solutions company in Metro Atlanta. We specialize in probate and inheritance properties, but we buy all over Georgia. We'll buy your house as is for cash. We'll close quickly. We'll, in most cases in probate and inheritance scenarios, we're buying it with some kind of stuff in it. We'll buy it with the junk in it. You don't have to clean it out. Or if you want to go the traditional route with your house, you think you want to get top dollar out of it, maybe it's in pretty good shape, you just want to list it on the market, maximize your return on that, I'd be happy to talk to you about listing the property as well. I am a licensed agent with One Source in Woodstock, so we'd be happy to discuss that. So thanks again for checking out this video. I know it went long, but I appreciate you watching. I'm Brad with GeorgiaProbateResource.com. Hope you have a great day. Bye-bye.